Welcome to the Now podcast. My name is Tara Hunnewell, and today we're going to delve into one of my favorite topics. Today we're going to navigate the waters of intentional parenting, unraveling the threads of connection, communication, and compassion, and explore the teachings of Jesper Juul. Join me and my very special guest, my dear friend, Åsa Schill, the driving force behind Family Lab Sweden. So whether you're a seasoned practitioner of mindful parenting or just dipping your toes into the transformative waters, join us as we explore the wisdom that unfolds when we use these teachings to meet real-world experiences. So stay tuned for a conversation that promises to inspire, enlighten, and leave you with practical tools for your own mindful parenting journey. So excited to introduce our next guest, Åsa Schill. She is a wonderful, wonderful person. She's an experienced parental coach who helps families build strong and sustainable relationships by improving communication, managing conflicts, and reducing stress in the home. As a coach, she specializes in helping insecure parents become more confident in their roles as parental leaders. Åsa believes that parenting is one of the most valuable roles in life. She helps her clients develop a positive, supportive, and loving family dynamic. Along with her husband, Gregor Schill, she is the proud mother of two beautiful children now in their adulthood. Åsa has had a strong personal connection with Jesper Juul, the founder of Family Lab, and is now the coordinator of Family Lab Sweden. Her goal is to create a world where all families feel encouraged and empowered and loved. I love that. So, after all of that, welcome, Åsa.
Oh, dear Tara, thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here.
I am
wonderful.
I am so happy to have you here, and it's just so fun to have this conversation here at the Now. It's what's so attractive to me about your approach to parenting and Family Lab's philosophies is that it just is a beautiful pair with inner reflection, self-reflection, and working on ourselves, which is what we focus on here at the Now.
Yes.
So the first thing we always have you start off before we dive in, there's so much to talk about. Who am I is the first question we always ask our guests. So who is Åsa?
So who am I? Yeah, that is, if I should answer that one from my inspiration of being here at the Now, I'm probably no one. It doesn't exist. The me doesn't exist.
That's right.
And yes, and thank you for the introduction. And yes, you did give quite a good description, actually.
Yes.
And I've been up and running Family Lab now for 14 years. Myself, I'm 53. So for me to be here at the Now, it's also really wonderful. Every time I come here, it's such a loveful place. It really feels like meeting dear close friends and just receiving love just by being here. Every time I'm here, it's the same feeling. So just to enter this, your place, the Now meditation, it's totally lovely. Sometimes I join your classes in breath work or in meditation. And we have also done a parental course together, you and me.
We have. Mindful parenting.
Mindful parenting. And that was also absolutely fantastic.
Very special.
And I still remember that we had a couple coming here. It was 5 meetings. 2.5 hour meeting every time. And when finishing the course, they say, yeah, this was a totally amazing, fantastic course. But they also said, maybe one of the best things is that your course started at 7 o'clock and we stopped working at 5 o'clock. So before coming here, we have been out having dinner together.
Yeah.
Because they went for...
That's right.
They went eating in central Gothenburg for 2 hours, chit-chatting about life, everything and nothing, preparing themselves to dig into their self-awareness and own emotional life.
Right.
So
giving themselves some time together.
So they say, we love the course, but maybe we love even more to go out having dinner together.
And they gave themselves permission to do that just because of the course. Yes.
So that is... sometimes to arrange babysitter, not only when you have arranged booking, but also when you for having time together
Yeah,
with your
book
partner.
yourself for a 5-part parental date.
Yes, parental date.
Yes.
That's how simple it can be done in daily life.
Yes, absolutely. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become, what inspired you to specialize in parental support, in fostering these love-based relationships within families?
Yes. For me, when me and my husband, we have 2 children. Our firstborn one, we have adopted her from Vietnam. And after that, quite close, I became pregnant with Oscar. So it's only 18 months between our children. And first, I was such an insecure parent. I remember when we were in Vietnam, it was me and a friend. We got our children pretty much at the same time. She was second mother for the second time, so she was far more experienced. I brought every book in the theme that there was possible to read. So when we got our child, I was trying to become a parent from an intellectual side. I read every good book that ever has been written. I asked everyone, how should I become a parent? I was totally lost in the area. And then after that, when I became mother of 2, with everything that comes with biological birth and breastfeeding and everything, there were even more questions. So I think this was my most peak learning period in my life to become a parent. There was so much to learn. And I was totally confused. I was totally lost. Tried to copy everyone. How should I become a parent? Who should I copy in this one?
Right.
Someone must know how this should be done.
But information overload.
Information overload. and I thought it was so tiring to be that sort of a parent, to copy someone else.
And confusing too, and then you lose your self-confidence.
Yes.
Right, you question everything.
Totally. I agree. And it wasn't until I found Jesper Juul's literature, and it was actually a preschool teacher who started up a parental course with Jesper Juul. She was not prepared. She just said, let's just read this book. It's about the competent child. It's about being aware in oneself about my boundaries and needs and checking up for my child's boundaries and needs. And that is sort of and then to speak with an I language, which I hadn't done at all because I was copying everyone else. So,
right.
So they say,
who am I?
Yes, should there be an I in this also? So that was news for me. But when I started being inspired by parenting by Jesper Juul, it really changed for me.
That was the moment.
That was
this
yes.
is it.
My life had worked pretty well before that with partners, friends, co-workers, and own parents. And I thought life went smooth all the way up till I became a parent. Then it didn't work smooth anymore. So I really needed to develop, but I did. And then I also found other layers of myself that was fantastic. I found myself via this introspection.
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection.
Yes.
So that was important for me and have been really important for my life. My life is far more colorful since starting with this. Yes. Since starting speaking an I language, which I could see that my children really appreciated. Yeah. Because they got a mother as a person when I started doing that. Not just a copy mother.
Right.
Yeah.
So you discovered Jesper Juul, and that was a key for you, and then that became your life work now. You've really stepped into. Those of you who don't know much about Jesper Juul, he was a renowned Danish family therapist, born in 1948, and he was an author, an educator, really known for his influential work in the field of parenting and family dynamics, with a focus of respectful and empathetic communication. His teachings emphasized the importance of fostering mutual understanding between parents and children. You got to know Jesper Juul, yes?
Yes, I had the huge privilege. Before he was the CEO of the Kimpler Institute in Denmark, and they had a 4-year training educating family therapists. And then Jesper Juul, he thought there's so much work we need to do. Parents need so much support. And very many parents, they don't need 10-year therapy once a week. Some parents need that, and I hope they will get it. But very many other, they need 5-meeting parenting course.
Right, just some simple tools and some guidance.
They just need to that sort of guidance, and he was on fire to give them that.
Yeah.
And that fire, yes, I have taken over it. I think it's crucial that we have more lectures, more information.
And I also agree. I am so passionate as well about his teachings and Family Lab, and they're just so practical. They're so, they make sense. And they're so needed in this time, I think. What I've discovered in this philosophy in Family Lab, it's this shifting from authoritarian beliefs and really violent parenting, even, I can say, right, into, what did you say?
Mm-hmm. We call it dialogue-based is one way of describing it. It can be, they also call it not authoritarian, not auktoritärt, but auktoritativt.
Okay.
I don't know if that is the
not
English
authoritarian,
term.
but authoritative.
Authoritative, yes. So it's the third way of parenting, as they call it. Because authoritarian, that is, I make the decisions, you do like I say, and if you don't do like I say, you will be punished. So that authoritarian can be mixed up with clear leadership, which is not, because clear leadership is good.
Yes, I need it.
But you need, you need someone speaking with I language, someone who knows the boundaries, and someone who knows what's good for the family and what is needed for the family, and someone it's hard decisions to make.
Right.
Single parents with 5 children, they need to. There's not so much flexibility, and maybe where you can eat, and if you need when you need to go up and go to bed, and so
chaos.
on. So there might be strong leadership, but when the children say no, that is the difference. What does the parent do then?
How do they respond to
Are they going over to having a dialogue, or are they being punished? So that is a big difference. There are more differences than that, but
it's such a big difference.
It is a big difference.
I remember this is this bridge, and this is my parents did not have that kind of parenting. And so I think the way I was raised was this kind of changing of the tides, right? There still was that go to your room, and now there are so many books. There weren't so many books about parenting and how to parent. And now there's like thousands. There's lots of ideas, and there's so many experts that are telling you this new way of being a better parent.
And also even more insecure parents now.
That creates insecurity, doesn't it?
For good and bad.
Yes.
Because like you said, when we grow up, I'm a bit older than you.
Yes.
But when we grow up, I don't think parents were not that insecure. Because, and Jesper Juul has coined the expression also that new parents, some kids, they don't get what they need. So we still have kids that don't have food in the fridge, and they are not properly looked after.
Right.
That is, of course, one group. But there's also another group that get very much attention from the parents, and they are lifting them up over themselves. So they forget to have their own boundaries.
Two extremes.
Yes, two extremes. And the first group, they will never open parenting books. The other group, they open all parenting books. And they are still quite confused in a way that our parents weren't.
Right.
Because they were confident that they were enough. Many parents today, they are very worried that they are not enough.
Right.
And Jesper has said, parents nowadays, they don't just get a kid. They get the start of the new coming humanity. So okay, that is quite a task. We're starting up a new sort of humanity here.
Yes.
I mean, sure, that's beautiful, but that's also a big work.
It's a big one, yeah.
It's a big one that they plan to do.
What have I done?
Yes.
Here we go. So what is Family Lab? And I love the word lab because it stands for laboratory, right?
Yes, it's true. And Jesper, he said that you can never educate a parent because you can have inspirational seminars, and you can say what children need, that they are much better off if they have self-esteem and if they are taken seriously and seen. And we have some things that we know that children need, but you can't educate a parent. And that is what I try to do. I try to educate myself to how do one do. But that will not work, because then I will only become a copy of someone else. So therefore, Jesper he doesn't want it to be parenting education. He wanted to be inspirational seminars where we can found our own inner parent.
Right.
Because there lives some sort of a parent within us. That comes, of course, who can I be as a parent? Therefore, I think it's sometimes quite strange when they ask, is that a good or a bad parent? I wonder, how can we answer that one? Because we are the parent that we can be. And it depends on where we come from. Who am I as a person? How was I brought up? What sort of parents and grandparents did I have? And what sort of child do I get? And that is the kind of parent I will become. So it's difficult to judge.
Right,
But we do anyway.
Right.
But we all have very, very good reasons why we are the sort of parent that we are.
When you said that the parent is born, you're not a parent until the child is born, and then you become. And I say this often to my son. I just say to him, I love being your mom. Thank you. I'm so happy to be your mom. And it's just this fresh moment every time. It's just this moment of thank you. And what a cool thing that we get to do this thing together.
Yes. I know a book titled Meet Your Child, Meet Yourself.
Yeah.
And that is very much like that. You will see yourself within that personality. So when you get to know your child, you will have to get to know yourself also.
Right. I mean, they're just going to call us out. They're going to show us things that we don't get to see. That's the thing.
They're going to provoke us.
This beautiful shining mirror. And they really do. You see it so much. I love that. And that's also another. It's thank you so much for being my greatest teacher. I get to grow every day with you.
And that is a beautiful thank you. And I hope many can see that one. and that is so important for the child because they come here to Earth and to say thank you for them because I mean, they are touching our weakest points.
Yeah.
And being provocative, and they push us to our boundaries. They really do.
Pushing those buttons.
Yes.
But I love that, what you said, boundaries and needs.
Yeah.
And so much of it also, you talked about some children don't have their basic needs met, food, survival.
No.
But this is also looking at our emotional needs and looking at the child's emotional needs. Because that's something that's overlooked. I think it's so.
It is, and that one can be from parents that are very strong in resources. They have a lot of time. They are very intelligent, and they love the kid above all. And maybe they got the first kid after 30. You call it. Sometimes these very strong parents, they really want the best for their child, and they are convinced that, like maybe they have a list of 3 things that. All parents, I want this for my child. Some parents, they want, yes, I want my child to have a really good self-esteem. And I'm not going to push them too hard in school because it will be okay anyway. We are both very intelligent and they will also manage in school. But I just want them to have a lot of friends because science says that when you have a lot of friends, you will be happy. And some other parents, they say, yes, I'm going to raise my kid with a good self-esteem so that they will never be dependent on a manager, so they know they can open up their own business. And some others say, yes, I'm going to raise my kids so they're really good in a sport, because when you're good in sport, you cannot be bullied. And many parents, they come with very good intention. They come in and they raise their child with lots of energy to make them... really good in what they found important. But the only thing is that they might completely miss out who their child really is. Like you say, this lack of emotional support. They don't get seen. So they don't get any nurturing to their own self-esteem. So many of these kids, they can be, if you it's good when parents, of course it's good when parents enjoy being with the kids and put a lot of attention to it. But it's also very important that they don't miss out completely. Who's my child?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Right.
So maybe this one that think it's very important. My child is very social. Every day they come and pick up at preschool. They say, so who's going to come with you today? Oh, yeah, we have extra fika and we're going to have a really good time. And maybe the child is up over their ears, tired of
Just
social interaction.
Yeah.
Maybe they're introverted philosopher. Maybe just want to go home and create the most beautiful world. And the sport person might have yes, they stumble on their own feet in every sport, and so they don't get seen, and they can feel like completely fail for the parents. And young children, they trust more in the parents' belief of who they are than that what they trust in their own. They can miss out also on themselves. They forget who they are.
Because they're too busy pleasing.
And they're too busy pleasing because of attachment theory. Most important for them is to belong to the parents and be loved by the parents. It's more important than that they love themselves or that they get to be themselves. They will do what the parents want.
Always.
Yes, they are weak in protecting their own integrity.
Mm.
So, and these are things to be aware, who's my child. That is things that can be trained. If that is difficult, let's say I'm a very extroverted mother and my child is very introverted, then we're not the best match. So even if I'm the most loveful parent and I want the best for my child, I want them to grow, then it is pretty difficult for me because I miss so many signals. And in that case, that is something that can be trained via what you offer here, Tara, at the now. That can be trained via extra training in awareness and self-reflection. And you can train in active listening and being aware.
Being present.
Being simply present in the moment with the people you interact with.
Yeah.
And that can be needed in today's society.
Because that's what happens when we allow ourselves some space to close our eyes and calm our minds. We can just listen and see more clearly.
Very much so.
And that's what our children really need.
Yes.
And I love this, that part of the teachings that show many parents are focused on that outer result rather than the inner world.
Yes.
That presentation, that self-confidence rather than self-esteem.
Yes.
And I once asked you to define self-esteem. Can you give us a definition of what self-esteem is?
You can say it's a quantitative and quality. It's two levels. Quantitative and qualitative level. And you can say that the quantitative level, it is how much I know about myself. And that level will be increased as we age because I know more and more about myself. I know this is how I feel in these situations, and this is how I feel in these situations. So I will know more and more about that. If parents want to strengthen that level of the child's self-esteem, it's very good when they put words on the child's feelings. I can see that your stomach is full. I can see that you're having a good time with that person. And it's never praising or criticism. It's just neutral feedback.
Observation.
It's always only observation, never any judgment in that one. That is quantity.
Yeah.
The quality level is to accept. And that is totally okay. Like for this child, I can see that, for instance, do you want a friend with you home from preschool today? Yes or no? No. Okay, I can see that you are tired of social interaction, and that is totally okay. Let's go home and read a book. Quality. You're totally okay.
Yeah.
You're an okay kid.
Right.
And that is very, it's extremely comfortable to live when you have self-esteem. It's just very comfortable. I heard that someone said that the relationship between two people are the summary of their self-esteem. So if there are two people that have pretty good self-esteem, it will be nice to hanging out.
Right.
And the opposite, then you have all these shortcomings that comes if you don't have the self-esteem. So it's very comfortable to live. There's also an immune system towards everything that will go bad in your life. It will go. And all the setbacks that you will have. If you have a good self-esteem, you will manage it really well.
And you once said to me, self-esteem is how much you know about yourself plus how you feel about it.
Yes.
So that was that simple, and it was such a key for me. Yes, that's it. So how much do I know about myself? Oof, that's a journey. So let me get to know myself and
how I relate to that,
how I
accept
feel
it
about that.
Yes.
So if I can be at peace and really live, and then working with these values, living an authentic life, knowing how to be in my own integrity, and So powerful. Can you share some of these key principles or strategies that you emphasize when you're coaching parents and how to build these strong, loving connections with their children?
When I'm coaching parents, I'm really only answering to the topic that they are bringing into the room. And it is, of course, they come because something is not working.
Right.
And then it's a huge variety.
Right, there's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them. But what we focus on, it is always to see in the conflict, just to helping the parent being in the conflict without damaging the relationship between the adult and the child, and without violating the child's integrity.
Right.
And very often stress management for the parent, because something is... but now I do coach quite a lot of parents that have children that don't want to go to school, and they have the reasons for that. But that is one.
That's a big one.
Common topic.
And it probably varies with age groups of the kids, right? So is this there are different topics that are big ones for different...
They are very different topics. And siblings fighting is, of course, one.
Sibling rivalry, all these, yes.
So that is one. And parenting, just feeling very insecure. And to take that insecurity and want to talk about it, and sometimes digging into their own childhood. What was good for me, what was boring, and what was damaging for me.
Right.
Just to make that sort of distinction.
And that's what I love too. This is just another opportunity. Often people will invest in becoming better parents because this is just a funny thing, right? Maybe we need that excuse to like, oh, I really need to learn how to be a better parent. And what I found with these mindful parenting courses that we've been offering is we're going to turn around and we're going to get a chance to look at ourselves and really look at that conditioning and what kind of parenting did I grow up with, and what parts of that felt really good, and what parts of that do I really want to maybe heal and shift and choose differently. And then there's that whole thing about your partner's parenting beliefs and how they match and how they cross, and then how do we work together. So there are lots of moving pieces to that. But yes, temper tantrums, power struggles. But just, I love this coming down to these practical tools of understanding how to, what was a big one too, is just really understanding that no, when our children are resisting and boundaries and power struggles and those temper tantrums, and saying no, but really embracing every no as a yes.
I think that is your competent child.
Yes.
I guess it's that one. And what we mean with competent children, because when that book came, the one that tried to be parents by only reading the subtitle, they said, okay, so children are competent, they don't need adult leadership anymore, which is wrong. That is never what Jesper said, because they really need parenting leadership. But what it means is that it's always meaningful. Children's expressions are always meaningful, and we should look into that.
Right.
So we should
pay attention.
We should pay attention.
Yeah.
And that they copy close attachment persons.
Yes.
They copy what they're outside or they're inside. Something of it. And maybe, let's say I'm a parent and I have a huge conflict with my partner. So we go out for walks and we have huge fights, and maybe we're talking about divorcing. So inside me, it's a total chaos. But on my surface, I think my loveful intention is to say that everything is calm and fine and everything will be perfect, because I want my children to feel safe. But my children, they are competent and they don't have all these polite filters that us adults have. And they're more sensitive. So they will sense what's going on with me.
You're right. They feel everything.
Yes. And then, since I'm the important attachment person, they might copy my surface, being very polite and saying everything is perfect, or they might copy my inside. And when 5 or 8-year-old one act out that inside, it's gonna look messy. Yeah. So therefore, these when we use the Juul material, then it's, when you look at it from that perspective, it's really mean to punish kids for acting out my inside, because it's their way of cooperating. And they're putting finger on, Mama, you need to do something about this one. You're feeling horrible.
And isn't that crazy?
You must step up.
And then you show that, and then the parent just says, "Go to your room, time out." Right?
Yes.
You're gonna get punished. You're gonna get put away.
They were just trying to help.
Right?
Mama, you need to speak about this one.
Yes. Oh, that was a big one.
Yes, it is. It is. And if there should be something to take away from this podcast, to be curious instead of judging.
What are you showing me?
Yes, to step back, and that is easier to do when you are aware, and curiosity can cure very much. And judging is the opposite.
In the conversations that I have, often I hear, yeah, that's fine, but I don't have time for that. I don't have time to do all that parenting, right? It's just I need to get to it. I'm stressed. I'm busy. I don't, I know all that mindful parenting is great. There's like this concept of like that takes a lot of time for me to just slow down, investigate what my child is feeling, right? People at parents are so stressed. And so what do you have as advice to parents who may feel overwhelmed or discouraged? What do you say to that parent?
Yes, I agree. It is sort of a choice to live in awareness. But when you do that, then you will need less, because like a coffee with a friend will be the happening of the week because you will be there in that fika. And just playing Lego with your child will also, it will have so many colors. It has so many dimensions, that meeting. And you will be, when you're in close, intimate, vulnerable relationship with your near and dear ones, you don't need so much. So there's many other things that you can take away. And they also say the fastest step to happiness, it's awareness and acceptance. So I think it's worth giving it a go.
So if you're having that reaction, if it feels like a lot of work or stressful, then maybe it really is a good idea to take a look at this.
Because when you become aware, you will see very many things that you will feel it's not important.
You're going to let go of a lot.
You're going to let go of a lot. It's not important. I don't need my head to spin on that subject or topic, and we don't need that one.
So I love that. And I just
drop a lot of things.
Yeah, and I love that invitation. Take that invitation to stop and build that Lego.
Yeah. And what also I think is one of the most important thing that we work with in Family Lab, it's parental joy. And that is what you will get when you enjoy being together with other people, and drop some of the rush.
And don't miss it. I also hear people say they'll be over soon. These years, they'll be over soon. You'll be through it, and they'll be grown up, and then you'll get your life back.
Yes.
I just want to slow time down.
Yes. Yes. And all conflicts is an opportunity where you might get closer to one another.
Yes.
You can get closer, because if you dare to be present and vulnerable, then you can grow together. So it's a real opportunity to get close to one another if you just meet in respect.
And I love that also, permission as a parent to not have all the answers. Again, this idea of reading all these books and suddenly you're the expert parent. And then just in that moment when your child asks you something, or just say, I don't know. I don't have the answer. Let's find it together. It's an invitation.
Like trying to become expert parent via books or via copying someone else. Of course, there's a lot of tips we can copy. But to become parent from within, that is the only way, as I see it. And Jesper said, when you have parents acting parents, you will have kids acting kids.
Right.
And then the mess is...
We're just playing make-believe, right?
Then the mess is a fact. It's chaos.
Yeah, we're just playing on the surface. And we don't know what's really happening underneath, and we're not being honest.
And that there's completely lack of authenticity. You can see also couples sometimes lack authenticity. They're not very honest with one another. And that is a loss.
It's going to bite you someday, because if you're not living truthfully, then how long can you keep that up?
It looks like you live close to a partner, but you really don't have... you would have been far more rich in life if you would have had a closer relationship.
Yes. Learn it now. How do you address challenges that parents may face in living these, I say loved-based, but discussion-based processes?
I think it's very good to think it's not either nor, because you do it a little, and just tap yourself on the shoulder when you do it a little bit more.
Right.
So if you crash in a big argument with your kid 3 times a day, and then after a week you only do it 1 time a day, then you must say, good, I'm walking in the right direction, I'm doing my best, and I should tap myself on the shoulder for that one. So it's not neither nor. You should just try to do it a little bit more.
Yes. Do you have any examples of families that you've worked with?
One very common question is that they come in and they find having a problem with the kid. And my very common answer is, yes, just imagine that is how your child is. It might be that they are on preschool Monday to Friday, and then they say that the activity we do on Saturday, it works really bad. Yes, and then it is, the reflecting coaching, imagine that your child doesn't cope an activity on Saturday. Your child needs to be at home in his pajamas on Saturday, Sunday, just being. And maybe he actually needs grandma to be at home on Wednesday with him. So that maybe your child doesn't cope all these rhythm that you have expected. And also children that doesn't go to school. Now I see more and more children that are moving to Åland because they want the right to homeschool their kids. And also to say, yes, maybe you have a child that would be best off if they got homeschooled. And that is not the number one answer the first day the child doesn't want.
Right.
But it's good to taking into opportunity this mental flexibility that is important to have. To be flexible in how I think things should be. Sometimes the child in the young teenagers, they will be more loud in how they want to live and not follow the. It should be a follow, but of course it is. Let's say that we are a family. We are musicians in our family. There will be music instruments in every room. And of course it's good that our child will probably also start playing instrument, and that is fine. And if we're a sporty family, on Friday we ask, so what sport do you want to go to this weekend? And we present 15 different games that of course it's a big chance that they will find something that they find is funny. And that is all good, that we spend time and have fun and play with our children in a way that we enjoy doing it.
Right.
That's just lovely. And but it's just when we do the child as a project and we don't see the child behind our good intention, that's when it's becoming a problem.
So how do you diagnoses that are being given to kids that maybe have their emotional needs aren't met, maybe something has happened, and then and there are even some parents that really just want to get that diagnosis. They want that excuse why their child is not feeling good, rather than actually maybe sitting down and investigating it. And it's not to say that some diagnoses are not real or legit, but what can you share about that and what you've seen in your profession?
We're talking very smart about this one, that we live in a system. And of course our children, they definitely live in a system, and they're really dependent on the system that they live in. And what we see now is quite a lot of adults, they want their diagnosis to be taken away. And many of them, they say, yes, I got this diagnosis during the circumstances when I was moving school 5 times in 1 year, or my sibling passed away in cancer, in difficult sickness, and my parent got sick. So that's 3 life-changing events that was over top manageable stressful for me, and of course a trauma for the kid. And then so very often trauma can be the reason why someone gets an diagnosis. And often many of these kids, that they say that BUP doesn't see the family system. They only put focus on the child and see their symptoms, and that's how they give their diagnosis. And many kids are very happy. Getting my diagnosis is the best thing that have happened. But I don't know the percentage of it, how many are they want to get rid of their diagnosis. They say, I should never have had it. it have just made me not going to the best schools that I could have done, and it,
because then you identify with it. You can almost have that as a new identification. Now
and,
I'm
and an
diagnosed.
excuse for not doing the work and for not having the difficult therapeutic conversations that these children should have had the right to. The emotional support that they should have needed, and the right treatment. So many diagnoses are not, they shouldn't have been there. They should have received something else. And if we would have seen the child in the system and their needs behind the behavior and why they find it, if we would have had the good therapeutic conversation with the child and see why it's difficult for the child to face the adult expectations, what they're struggling with, then the scenario would have been different.
So you said family constellation, the importance of looking at the whole to see that we are part of a system. And then there's a system within a system within a system, right? So there's that individual, and then there's the family constellation. And then you're part of a school, then you're part of a city, part of a country, part of a world, right? We can keep widening that zoom. So important to look at this constellation.
Yes. Yeah, really. Yeah.
What happens when you don't have the values within the family constellation?
Yes, we were talking about, and the 4 values, they are described in Life in Family, and it's authenticity, equal dignity, integrity, and responsibility. So it's these 4 values that the book Wisdom by Jesper Juul, that it says that all families needs enough level of these 4 levels. And for instance, authenticity, if you don't have it, then it was on the theme. We have parents acting parents because they have learned by a book and try to do it by a role book, and they like follow the law and star tracks. If you behave like this, you get a star. If you don't, you get the naughty step. So, and then the children, it's no relationship in there. It's just, and then the parents complain when the teenagers come, my son is treating this house like a hotel. Yeah, you were the one, stop having a relationship. So now he's just continuing,
right?
Not having. And then, so that one I see lacking, and maybe the parents go to the couple therapist and the woman say one thing, yeah, now I have looked into my husband's account and this is what he really does. He has a lot of money on an account that he doesn't show me. So now I'm going to also start hiding away money from him.
Let me play the game.
Let me play the game, and I'm going to be better in playing the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what does this has to do with
it's a losing game.
Intimacy, and how can you be close and open-hearted when you have lost the authenticity like that? And it's not neither nor, but of course the relationship and the joy of life would increase if you brought in more authenticity and honesty.
And that takes self-reflection. You have to start to ask, who am I?
Yes.
Who am I really? Because maybe you've been wearing this mask for so long that you even believe it to be the real mask, the real you. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. Just take a moment to close your eyes and start to get to know what's going on inside.
And you don't have to shock your environment by going from 0 to 100. You can just say a little bit, I'm not sure I would agree. Maybe we can talk about that one. You can start whispering honesty.
Yeah.
a little bit. So you can.
And that's wise to do. I think it's just to create a little space, just so you can start to see things new, small steps and with grace. And
yes. And it's and the authenticity, because they doesn't stand one and one. They work together, all 4 of them. So it should not be authentic like small children. Newborn, they are very authentic. They don't always work together with all the other values. Maybe they don't like equal dignity, that we appreciate differences. That is also extremely important in a family, both between the parents and the parents to the child. Of course, it's really important that we appreciate we are allowed to be different. We're allowed to have different opinions, and that should be open. And parents, of course, have different opinions of what's important. How much computer can you play? How much Coca-Cola can you have a week? And of course, we have different opinions about these things. And how polite should you be to the grandparents and whatever. So that we embrace these differences and that we see the benefits of it. That's a nice family to grow up in for a child, because they're going to be different.
And the word that I love for this one of the keys is nyfiken, to be curious, right? To ask, to be really curious, because we can be so fixed.
Yes. And also that one will be helped off, like I say, being curious instead of judging is the key for that one. And we do have the integrity, our boundaries, our needs, and to see that in our child, and to help our child set boundaries for themselves. To see it. Okay, we're doing something, it doesn't look like you wanted that one. You said yes to it, but you didn't really want it. No, that's true, I didn't want to. To help children see their own integrity. And the last one, responsibility, what's mine, what's yours. And that as children grow up, more and more should be on their decision. More and more should go over to their responsibility. And they have the right to try it before they know. They put on their boots, like we call banana feet. They should have the right to, like, responsible for dressing myself, responsible for what I put in my mouth. And as they get older, more and more responsibility for getting up in the morning, taking care of school, choosing friends.
That's a big one, personal responsibility. And that's another topic, but I want to hear your take on this, because there's a wide spectrum from curling parents. I just learned that term here in Sweden, but what would we call them? Like overprotective parents, or the parents that do everything for their child, to the other extreme, which is like, my child is going to be resilient and do everything, like really early, on their own, figure it out. I want you to survive even if I'm not here, right? Leaving them sort of out. And I've seen both extremes. So what is there a right answer to that? Is there it's up to you to decide what the right answer for that is? Or, because it's probably, as you said, this grows. There are different development phases with a child.
And I think you said it, when you go to extremes, yes, then it is extreme. And it does. Children that are not physical protected, because parents think they can take care of everything. So when it goes to extreme, and good curling is good. Curling helicopter parents, done in the right way, that is good for the so there was just a debate article a while ago, but there is one very important thing, that when we think that our children are very skilled and will manage a lot, that's how we look at them, and that is very nurturing for them. I know you're really good, I'm sure you will manage. So that is extremely good for them. And well, sometimes I'm coaching parents, and sometimes it is the mother that is complaining, oh, I don't want, my husband is so harsh and so hard with my son. And yes, maybe the father is. But yes, I'm a bit hard with him, but I'm totally sure that he can manage. So what is right and what is wrong? It is also good that you are convinced my child is resilient. But then it is what is tough and what is violating the child's integrity, because that is never good.
So that's what it is, isn't it? It's really about, if you're doing the work and really coming from a place of connection. Yes. And this is what I love about the values are, they bring us to that place where we're connected. I'm aware of the choices I'm making, rather than just repeating what I was taught or doing this because I think it's the right thing to do. But if you can just look at it and feel it and really know that it's your truth, then from that place, seeing your child and then helping them become resilient, and maybe they don't know how to tie their shoes yet, so teaching them how to tie their shoes instead of tying them for them all the time. And then and seeing how I had a moment with my son that was actually really beautiful. It was so cute, because I taught him how to tie his shoes, and I just realized how he was just the simple thing of learning to tie his shoes. It was like the best thing he had done in a long time. He was so proud, and he wanted to tie everything. And it was just that moment when I just realized this simple little skill of tying your shoes, how empowering that was for him. And he was suddenly tying everything he could find for a long time. So this, like, taking the time to teach them that little skill, it takes just a minute to teach them how to tie. There's some patience, because it's also easier to tie it myself all the time.
And it's like in the Montessori pedagogic that have similarities with this Maria Montessori. And she said, help me help myself.
Yes.
So they should not be lonely. They should not be abandoned, but they should be helped to manage things themselves. And I think she have lowered the sink so that they can wash up their own dishes, and they have easy put on shoes so they can walk around on this planet managed by themselves as much as possible.
Yes.
We should be around, and we should be
Watching
the
and guiding.
frame.
Yeah. So they feel loved and seen and safe and all of that.
Yes, and boundaries towards the cars and streets and so on.
Right.
But apart from that, they can go out and manage.
Amazing. I love that. So communication and leadership, this is another big one. Are there specific communication skills or techniques or leadership techniques that you share with your clients? And
it's always good both with couples and for parents. There is one that I speak from my I language, which is very good. But as I start doing that, it's just as important to ask my partner or my co-workers, or what it might be, what is your opinion, what's so important for you? Because many, they in the beginning, they left the course becoming really good in speaking the I language, and they were surrounded by polite people that just nodded and, you want, and so, okay, so now I want that one. So when you become good in presenting yourself, you must also be good in letting other people putting their needs and wishes on the table. So to ask for them. So it goes two ways. Here am I, who are you?
Yes, which is another title of Jesper Juul's book.
That's a very good factor.
Here I am, who are you?
Yes, and so if we should say something about communication and about leadership, I think that is the best key to it, because it is this not authoritative leadership. It comes from my personal responsibility, from me taking my personal responsibility and standing up for my own needs and boundaries, but also very important into mentalization, mentalize my child from within and try to see them. So it is a self-awareness and to mentalize my child, and that is to do that as often as possible and not to react, and then to be proactive. So if I have a problem once, do I think this will happen again? Okay, so I need to do something about this, and then to ask the child to not to just fantasize the solutions, but to ask the child, what do you think works? What is your trouble with this one, and how do you want things to be? So really take my perspective and the other one's perspective.
And I love this tool that you have with the red, yellow, and the green. That's with boundaries, being really clear about what's in my red. Like, this is an absolute no-go. I have to be really clear. I'm not okay with this. This is sort of in the yellow zone. This is what is maybe discussed. We can have a little conversation whether it's okay or not. And then green, like, I'm okay with this. And that's so personal.
That is really good. That is Ross Green inspired material, and that is really good. And it helps a lot of parents, because when we should be more clear, when we should, as parents, authoritative parenting, then we should stand in our own needs and boundaries.
Right.
And to be clear about that one, because let's say my teenager, if they don't wash up the dishes, or if they smoke cannabis in the house, there should be a difference in my no.
Right.
Because I prefer if you wash up the dishes, but cannabis is absolutely not, never. And same with a small child. You must have a seatbelt on, but if you doesn't clean your room, it's okay. So we must, in our voice, our children should hear.
They must be. I love that. It makes me think of that movie, The Yes Day. Did you see? Which was an okay movie. It was but it was the trailer that I thought was amazing, because the trailer is just, it's Jennifer Gardner and she's saying no, no, no. Everything is no. So you're like, the no, mom. That's just no to everything. No, 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 no. And then I think I shared this during one of our mindful parenting courses. Then there's the yes, mom. And the whole premise of that movie is her going against saying no to everything, turning it around. The kids choose to have a yes day. But we have to have boundaries, because I think you can overextend yourself and just say yes to everything, and then you can't deliver all of the promises. So,
and sometimes parents that find it difficult saying no, of course they have their good reasons why they find it difficult, and that is normally because they were not allowed to say no when they were kids, because you raised by authoritarian parents, and then it's difficult for them. But
to learn to say no is a good one.
Yes, but just recognizing that one, why is this one difficult for me? And many of them, they can find the motivation of becoming better in saying no by knowing that they are role models for their own kids. So
and being okay with that, like saying no with a big smile on your face. No,
yes. And sometimes I coach parents, and they can't say no to the kids, and their mothers can't. Their mother and their grandmother and their grandmother's grandmother. No one of the women in that going down have ever said no. So then they realize, wow, I'm doing something huge. I'm
healing my family system.
I'm feeling 10 generations back.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it for my kid because I want my kid to be able to say no.
Yeah.
So then they can respect how difficult and how they are shaking in fear when they are saying no, because it has been forbidden for so long, and many of them are sick because of it, because they always say yes, and then they are saying yes, they're learning it, and by knowing I'm a role model for my kid, and I want them to, therefore I'm taking this step.
It's such a freedom to learn to say no. So beautiful. So in your view and in your history and what you've been working with, how does fostering these love-based relationships and support at home contribute to a child's overall well-being and development?
Actually, enormously. If you see all the shortcomings that come from not having self-esteem, what happens with a person that doesn't have integrity or self-esteem? It's just a whole rack of a non-functioning person. Maybe it shows on the surface, or it's alcoholic abuse, or they're letting other people abusing them, or they are abusing others. So it's and of course it's not it's never everything or nothing when raising a child, but they're more dialogue-based parenting that a child faces, the better that they will be off, and the better relationships they will be off. And as I say, after when we have roof over our head and food on the table, the third thing that affects how our life will be, it's our relationships, and how good or bad our relationship. That is what will set the standards for how good our life is.
Right.
So it's extremely important, our relationships, really so. So I think it's completely crucial.
Everything.
Yes, and of course affects our health enormously. And that how long you live, it's more important if you have good relationships than, example, if you are heavily overweight or smoking. The quality of your relationships is more important, is proven in science. So it's really important.
It's important.
that we get along with other people, and that we have friends. Yep.
And that we love ourselves.
Yes.
And that we're getting our emotional needs met. Because that's the thing. And it's so wonderful to be able to do it early. So as parents, we can take this opportunity to grow as people, as human beings, and to become better parents, to become better humans. Our children are just here to give us this opportunity to mirror and reflect ourselves. So this is what I love about mindful parenting. It's just another invitation to take a moment to get to know yourself a little bit better, and to do it with your beautiful children that have come here to be on this journey with you. So that's what it's such a wonderful, wonderful practice. And I hope everybody that's listening is reflecting and inspired to look at themselves through that lens. And
when we were talking about this self-esteem, and you like the explanation, how much you know about yourself and how you relate to that, and that can all be found via awareness and meditation. Because when you do self-reflection, then you understand yourself, and then you also come to an acceptive, okay, I forgive myself, I didn't want to do that in that relationship, but shit happened, let's go on, new day, better day tomorrow. Give it a new go. Yes. So acceptance, forgiving yourself, and to understanding yourself. It can meditation and then go out in the world and be a little bit more you. That's a good way of growing.
It's true, because we do hear this here. Many people are opening their eyes and saying, I love myself. And tears come to their eyes, and they just say, I'm not crying, I'm so happy because I have this deep sense of peace within myself that I have been longing for. And that comes with self-acceptance and just letting a few things go, quieting our minds, and coming back to that place of love that's always there within us. And that's what I love also, is that these practices, they go both directions. When we take this time, and there are practical tools and practices that we can have, these values are so wonderful to just check in. Am I living in alignment with my integrity? Am I being authentic? Am I taking personal responsibility? Big one, because there's so many people that walk around feeling like they're victims, or maybe even not knowingly, but they're blaming everyone and everything on their unhappiness. But that personal responsibility means that I am now responsible for my actions and my reactions. Whew, that's a big one, because then suddenly you're stepping into your power. Yes. This is my life.
Yes,
I get to choose. And equal dignity. Goodness, if we could just practice equal dignity, to just really be present and allow that curiosity. Even if you think the person across from you is saying the silliest, craziest thing you've ever heard, you can just say, okay, I'm curious. What do you mean by that? And then maybe for a moment, you're going to just see something from another perspective. So just seeing every relationship, every situation as another opportunity to grow and learn and learn more about yourself. So powerful and wonderful. And yes, when we meditate, when we can quiet our minds and access that place, all of these values are natural.
Yes, they are.
We're connected.
Yes, if we're connected, we will be in these values. Then we will feel when we are distant from them. When we're not in authenticity, we will feel the pain. If we are too rushed, we will not feel the pain. So awareness is definitely key, of course. Definitely. You can find all these naturally by being aware and accepting.
So beautiful, so wonderful. And we are in this new shift and this change and the little ones that are coming here to join us on planet Earth in this wild time. I'm just, I'm grateful that we have these tools and these practices, and definitely different from the way my parents were raised, and definitely different, from the way I was raised, and definitely from my parents, because I just one other little story. Or we can talk for one closing. Actually, is that we have to also touch that this is we are in a world. There's still are cultures and countries that are pretty, actually, I can say, violent with their children. Still, hitting and spanking is okay in some cultures still, which feels shocking here in Sweden and also in the States. But so there is still a broad scope. Can you share a little bit about that in the work that you do? It's also to respect other cultures and different beliefs and different backgrounds.
Oh yes, yes, of course. And as we say, and as I will say something about it. Thank you. And I think we always have the knowledge and assumption that all parents always love their children and they want the best for their children. Sometimes the parents have experienced something that makes it impossible for them to feel that love, but it is there. So when we have, and how do we know what is best? And some parents, they think they are the best parents on the planet only because they don't hit their children. But maybe they're you can see big damages on children's self-esteem. You can see them on parenting that have violence against the children. because it's, of course, violating the child's integrity. But you can actually see similar damages from helicopter parents that doesn't see their children at all, and they don't trust that their children are able to manage anything. They don't want them to face any pain in the world, and they put them on the top of the mountain, making themselves doormat for that child. That child, it's not possible. None of those children is possible to grow a healthy self-esteem. So they get similar damages, yet the parents are so different. The one that hit the child might completely lack. They are short of resources, time, energy, knowledge, and the other family is the opposite. So that's why I love parenting support, because I think a few things can be so very much taught, so that you don't. Some people, they really need to learn, as I did, how not to mess up the child's self-esteem, because they are born with natural self-esteem.
And this reminds me of one of the quotes, actually, because you said that it's true. It's so sad to hear, but it's true that maybe the parent has an issue preventing them from feeling the love for their child. But one thing that I've learned is that the child never stops loving the parent. So even the child that's hit by their parent, or
they can when they
start
when
loving
they go
themselves.
into puberty.
Later.
Yes,
but
yes.
the early child.
In the
there's
early
a quote
child
that says, when you hit a child, when that child is being hit or abused, they never stop loving the parent. They stop loving themselves.
Yes. And that is because of the attachment trumps. It's above everything. So for the child, they know that I will die if I'm not close to my attachment person. So therefore, it's more important. Children really do. So they know this, and that they know more than adults about this one. They could see it during, I think it was Second World War, when they placed children. They had so many orphans in taken care of in orphan homes. And they didn't have time to take care of them, so they just gave them a bottle of milk every third hour, but no attachment person. They were not together with them, and they could see that infant after infant died. The only infant that survived, it was the infants that was close to where the cleaning staff was sitting and having coffee. So they got enough of adult connection, so they survived. But the ones that didn't have adult connection, they died. So it's more important with physical adult presence with an attachment person than with food. It's crucial. And children know this, so they will do anything to be part of the group. So that's why you can do so many things when you raise a child, and they will not say that you're a bad parent or anything. They will just say, I love you, and throw themselves with a heart before straight into the arms of the parents. And the parent would think, oh, that was a good, I hit my child a little bit, and so you're a naughty girl, you hit your brother, so I'm going to hit you, spank you. And then they say, I love you, now I understand, I will never do it again. And just that the child can't say that because they don't have the sort of brain so that they can calculate. They don't have the impulse control. And but they are promising. They just say, I love you, and I can't live without being connected to you, my attachment person. So you can do almost anything to a child because attachment triumphs everything.
Until they become teenagers.
Then they will start questioning.
So their biology frees them from that attachment parenting, and
then the brain can start think critical about their attachment persons. And they will. Some of us who has teenagers have experienced. They see everything. So I got all of these. Now I'm going to see what I want to keep and what I'm going to want to throw out. And maybe I should test the next time if this was good. So yes, they see who am I going to be? I'm going to be an autonomous person in this.
So interesting, inspiring. And it reminds me of the song that I used to sing, Children Will Listen. Careful the things you say, children will listen. Careful the things you do, children will see and learn. Yes.
Lovely. Beautiful.
Anything else you'd like to share with us, Åsa? The work that you're doing. So you are working mainly with parental support. So you're training parental leaders and educators who are working with parental support. Yes?
Yes, mainly working with educating parental coaches. Yes. And familjehandledare. Difficult to find a good English expression. I think it says family counselors, but it's difficult to find a good English translation to that one. But the parental coaches. I think is the best
And then
one.
you do have private clients as well that you see.
Yes. Yes. But and I think lawful divorces actually is my number one target group. But also stress management.
Stress management, loving divorces. So even exiting a relationship from love and from a place of connection.
Yes. And
keeping that family constellation in the focus.
Yes, and of course, I mean, people that are wondering whether we should separate or not, it can be a several-year process because they don't do it easily, and they maybe we can try to fix this. Maybe I can find a good life together with my partner. So many are working on it for many years, and then it goes various ways. Yes, but I want to be. Sometimes when they come in, they're coming for parenting coaches. It turns out it's more of a living together with my partner challenge. So, and that is fine. That is fine to work with.
This is what I love about you, Åsa, and the work that you do is that you're always just so good at meeting people where they are and coaching and guiding and having these amazing resources and practices and tools, and such a gift. And hopefully we'll be offering some more mindful parenting experiences together.
Because that was great fun.
Yes. So whether it's an inspirational evening or another course or something soon together. So then I can say thank you so much, Åsa, for joining me today.
And it's so lovely being here today. And the only thing I think that now I've been here for the last time, you and me, we are working together and we're having coffee together. But next time I'm going to come here, I'm going to come for meditation. I need to look after also myself.
Yes.
Mindfulness or breath work.
Yes.
I should come to your place.
You are always welcome.
Lovely.
It's always beautiful to spend time with you, even if it's in silence.
Yes.
Even more beautiful. So if anyone wants to find Åsa, we're going to put a link in her bio, and you can contact her directly if you have any questions, if you want to join some of her educations, and certainly check out Family Lab, check out Åsa Schill, and we very much look forward to future collaborations and possibilities and to continue this conversation. Thank you, Åsa. Just thank you for your time and for being here with us today.
Thank you very much, Tara, for inviting me. Looking forward. Thank you. From the heart, thank you, Tara.